Well, obviously, we're getting into our next opponent, and I can't say enough about Rocky Long. First of all, I can't thank him enough for allowing me to interview his coordinator, Danny Gonzalez, who's now with us, along with Coach White. They made a big difference so far defensively in our system. I have a lot of regard for Coach Long. He's got himself a really good football team and a really good program. Last 3 years, they're 32-9, by the way. They've won a lot of football games. I understand what that school's all about. That was one of my many alma maters that I actually visited, graduated from there. But with that being said, they're a good football team. They have a DNA similar to Michigan State's. They want to run the football. They're going to play really good defense. They don't give up a lot of points. They're a good tackling group, hit the quarterback a lot, similar to what we're trying to become. So they have that formula. They came in here last year and beat them. Did a nice job of running the ball, 154 yards rushing. They had Penny, I understand that. Did really good in the return game as far as kickoff returns. Penny had a 99-yard touchdown. They scored 16 points in special teams play when you think about the field goals they made and the special teams touchdown. So they're well equipped of playing slow, methodical games where they like to take time off the clock, similar to Michigan State, like to keep it low scoring, present their defense in a manner where you can't score a lot of points, get you a little flustered and do something where they can create turnovers. They've done a marvelous job of that over the last 10 years the coach has been there, taking the ball away. So we haven't played a road game. Haven't been on the road. This is a good test for us to see if we can continue to improve this week and try to win another football game, which would be very difficult because this is a good opponent. Questions?
Brad Sussmat, Sports 360 AZ. You're 1 year there at San Diego State. Tom Kraft, John Fox, Claude Gilbert recruited you. How did that all work?
I was a double transfer, left Cal twice, actually. Went there as a freshman, played, and then my sophomore year got into a disagreement with a position coach, left, went to JC for a season. And they highly recruited me to come back. I went back, was JC All-American, and went back to Cal. Played my junior year, Pac-8 player and all that kind of stuff. But we were a good football team. Had a lot of guys that went on to play pro football. David Decaturner was one of the running backs. So we, good football teams. A lot of double transfers used to go to San Diego State back in the day. Mm-hmm. They recruited double transfers and JC guys, no high school guys. It was like the haven for all guys. I know Isaac Curtis, who went to Cal, recruited me, left Cal and went to San Diego State and finished his career there, and obviously went to Cincinnati. A lot of professional players, DBs, came out of San Diego State. When I came in the league in 1977, as a rookie, there were 13 defensive backs in the National Football League that came out of San Diego State. So a lot of guys, a lot of pro players have come out of that program. That was the place to go. I told Danny, I said, you guys messed up those uniforms. They used to be all black with the red top hat. I said, now they got red on those things. They don't look the same anymore. But, things change. I get it. I'm not trying to be the uniform guy, but have a lot of respect for that program because I know what that program means to a lot of guys.
There's a story that Donnie Ray. And there's a lot of stories about Herm.
Mm-hmm.
One of them is you led the team in assists because you were always the last player on the last frame of the film.
Yeah, that's true. And because the first time I went in there real fast, John Fox hit me in my ribs. I said, I'm on your team, man, because Foxy was in the secondary. And we played a lot of man-to-man coverage back in those days. We had basically two coverages, free safety in the middle and no free safety, played man-to-man. So you're not going to get a lot of assisted tackles, obviously, because you're playing corner and you're always in man-to-man. It's hard when you change like this. It's always hard to change. And when you get an influx of new players, you get some new coaches on your staff, that's difficult. I think these guys have weathered all that now. I think we've earned their trust. I always say with this, and I always talk as a player, I said, coaches have to earn your trust. You respect coaches because they're the coach, but you got to earn their trust. And I think our coaches have done that. I hope I've earned their trust by now. I'm still trying to work on that. As I said, I took the job as a servant. I'm here to serve those guys, the players and the coaches. And I think they know I'm pretty consistent with them. I'm a guy that doesn't, I'm pretty calm now. Some people would say I'm not, but I really am. I'm a calm guy. I make calm decisions. I don't get emotionally involved in things where I make one of those decisions. Every once in a while I might have a blow up, but for the most part I'm pretty level-headed. And so I think that's been calming for them through the change, and for coaches too, because when you hire a staff, they never worked with you before. These guys never worked with me. The only guy that really knows me is Kevin Mawai. He's played for me, so he kind of understands my mannerisms. And I think as things were going along, when we first got here, they would lean on Kevin. And Kevin would look at him and go, yeah, don't ask him that. Or, yeah, he's good with that. So I think they figured me out, and I'm still learning all of these guys as well, but that's helped us a lot, and it's attributed to the players and the coaching staff.
Paul Richardson with the Sports Cave.
Yes, sir.
Coach, I know you were saying you just saw that you were ranked for the first time.
Well, I
this
didn't
season.
see it. Somebody told me. So.
With the players, though, when they see that, do you think you'll have their attention, even though because San Diego State was a loss last year and they played them really, really tough?
Yeah, well, rankings don't help you win, is they play hard now. Oh, they play hard. And I got a lot of text messages and calls after that game from guys that are in football, and they say, Coach, they play hard, and I've always said this: just leave it on the grass. Just leave it on the grass. That's all you have to do as a football player. You leave everything you got on that grass, and then you can live with the outcome of what happened.
Anyone else on this side before we pass it to the other side?
Tony Capobianco, also with Sports Cave. San Diego State's going with a backup quarterback who's making his first collegiate start against you guys. With the limited amount of film, how does that affect the preparation against that team?
Well, the good part is Coach Gonzalez knows who he is. He was on that staff. That helps you some. But we know who they are. They're going to run the football, and they're going to run it, and they're going to run it, and they're going to continue to run it. And that's what they do. That's their personality. They want to possess the clock. They want their defense to be fresh so they can run around. And their defense plays with their hair on fire. They play hard, boy. They really play hard, and they'll be ready to play us. I mean, they will match our intensity. They will. The quarterback, he's athletic. He can leave the pocket and make some plays, but they're going to rely on their running game and try to stay out of third and longs, because that's when we can get creative. They get creative as well, where they hit the quarterback a lot. We've been fortunate enough in the first two games to hit the quarterback, and that's what you want to do. You want to storm the castle, hit the quarterback, make him uncomfortable. That's what football's about. Quarterback's down, you got a chance.
Well, one of those guys hitting the quarterback is Merlin. How has he made such an impact on this team as a freshman walking in?
We're fortunate enough to get him. He was a big get for us in our recruiting process. I think, when you ask a freshman to come in here and start, that's asking a lot. And he hasn't blinked. He has not blinked. And every week he gets more confident. But he is a good player. I mean, it'll be fun to watch him a couple years from now to see how he develops, become the guy we anticipate him to become. But when we recruited him and I told him, I said, look, this place is about opportunity. I don't care if you're a freshman, a sophomore, a senior, it doesn't matter. The best players are going to play. I listen to my eyes every day I go to practice. That's your resume. You put it on tape every time you walk on the football field. And I said, I will listen to my eyes. And I said, I don't care if you're a freshman. If you're the best player, you're going to play. And he looked at me and said, Coach, I get it. I said, I know you get it. That's why you start. You go play and go have fun. And he's going to make some mistakes. But by week 6, he's going to be better off for it. We've got Danny played 25 guys again on that defense. And a lot of guys go out there and they make some mistakes, but we're going to live with it because we're trying to build something. So we're not going to panic when they make a mistake and holler at them and scream at them. I keep telling them, they're freshmen. How's he supposed to know? He never played in this atmosphere. Are you kidding me? Walked out there in that stadium. It's like, that's a lot. That's a lot to ask a guy. And so they grow, and the only way they grow is they play. I always say experience is one of those things where you actually got to go do it, and we're going to allow them to do it. As long as they play hard, we're good.
Jeff Metcalf, Arizona Republic. How do you think your right guard combo did, and do you expect to have Miller back or Treylon?
We expect to have both of them back. They did pretty good against a nice front, which was good because Roy was a guy that we brought in here and knew that he had some experience playing, and visited him with him and said, "Hey, you're up. Let's go play." And I thought Coach Christians did a great job with all those guys. The offensive line doesn't get enough credit last 2 weeks, what they've been able to accomplish against this front, big, powerful. They did a nice job. Now, the stats don't show it, but I just think what they were up against, to hang in there and to make some yards in the fourth quarter, because that's what it boiled down to. The game was in the fourth quarter, and going in, that was kind of our mindset, get it into the fourth quarter. And if we could do that and make a couple plays, we'd have a chance to win. But offensively, the line played pretty well.
Chris Cartman, Sun Level Source.
Yes, sir.
So 2 minutes left, 1st and goal at the 6. You take a timeout after Michigan State had taken a timeout.
Yes.
Mark D'Antonio said after the game that he was going to let you guys score.
Yeah.
Rob Likens said that he was going to try to call a play to try to score. Can you kind of walk us through what happened there with you taking the timeout?
Yeah, I said, don't even worry about trying to score because that's not going to happen. We're not scoring. We're going to take it down and kick a field goal with 4 seconds left. I said, that's the plan. That was the plan when we got it with 4:55, was try to put points on the board. But what I was trying to do, there comes a point where you play against the clock. We were playing against the clock at that point. At 4:55, when I walked down there on the 40-yard line, wherever we were, trying to move that ball, I told the players, I said, guys, it's the clock now. I said, the defense should never touch the field. They don't get the ball back. If we play this right and we do what we're supposed to do, we're going to be in good shape to win this football game. Now, we got to execute. And I said, it's on you guys. You got to go make some first downs. And now, I'm not saying we weren't trying to score a touchdown, but you're always trying to score. But there comes a point where you're playing the clock, and when it got in within 2:30, I'm going, we're good. We're good. Just keep moving. And I told him, I said, we don't have to score. And then when we called the timeout, I told Coach Likens, he's got all these plays. I said, no, you know what the best play is? Victory. Just go take a knee now. I said, because they're going to let us score. I mean, that's why they called the timeout, because that's what I would have done. I would have told my defense the same thing. Let them score. So we can maybe possess the ball and go down at the end and score, and then maybe go for 2 points to win. Now, that would be the hard one. Because then all of a sudden you're on the road, and if that happened, they're on the road, what do? Do you kick it and go overtime, or do you go for 2 points? That's the next decision you got to make as a coach. I'm hoping I don't have to make that one too many times, because that's a tough one. But
and just to follow up on that, so many NFL games come down to the last minute.
Yeah.
How much all those experiences affect your decision making with that?
Well, they affect you in experience of doing it. A lot of people say I was away from football, but I wasn't away from football. I just didn't have a team to coach. But when I watch a football game, I don't watch it as a fan. I watch it as a coach. And I'm actually coaching the game. You know how many games I actually coached when I was in Bristol? Watching them. And I'm watching every situation. I'm looking at coverage. I'm looking at the front. I'm looking at what they're trying to do, and I'm looking at that when I watch the game. I don't just watch the game, oh, I know those guys. No. I'm actually coaching the game, and I'm coaching situations, and that's all I've done for the last 9 years, is I watch television, because I got to come on television and report what I've just watched. Most people watch the ball when they watch a game. I never watch the ball. I know what's going to happen. He's going to hike it. That's the only way the play starts. So why should I watch the ball? I don't watch the ball. I watch everything else but the football. So when I watch games, I was coaching those games. Now, there was no score, there was no right or wrong for me, but you experience that as you watch football games. Like, when you watch tape, you're coaching the game. You're coaching situations in the game, and you're watching the score. You understand the timeouts. You understand the situation, and you go, okay, these are some of the thoughts. If I was coaching, this is what I would do. So I was calm. I wouldn't. Hey, here's the deal. We're good. Now the players will look at you. Now, to their credit, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, we show scenarios of teams that have done something last Saturday that it didn't work out well. Or we show teams where it did work out well. And we show it, and I go through it, play by play, clock running. Here's a situation. If this happens, we run out of timeouts. We know 15 seconds is the cutoff for us to run out there and kick a field goal. We know. We practiced it day before yesterday. 15 seconds, boys, here we go. And make sure you don't run into somebody when you're running on, right? So all those things are practice. I mean, we practice on all that stuff. It's not haphazard. It's not, you got to practice it. That's what we do.
Coach, Chris Gleason, WCSN. You talked about after the MSU game how you guys never practiced in the dome. You're always outside no matter how hot it is. With the hindsight of the first 2 games, what impact do you think that's had on your team's mentality, and how much do you think it helped them?
I would hope it's helped us stamina-wise and mentally. I think when you fatigue, there comes a point to where you have to focus, and I think their focus is sharp, and it showed up in the fourth quarter. No fouls. Michigan State had 5 fouls, and there's a reason for that too. They were in a bad situation, traveling, playing a game that late. It's 12 o'clock at night in the fourth quarter now. That's hard. That's hard for anybody. But for us, we function because our time zone helped us. The heat helped us. All those. That's what you call home field advantage. Take advantage of it. Fans, home field advantage. Take advantage of it. But you got to play good to do it, right? And you got to get the game in those situations. We were fortunate enough to get this game in that situation.
Herm, Doug Howler again.
Yep.
When you were in the NFL, did you have the same philosophy about playing the best guys when they were rookies, or?
Ask Kansas City. Started 6 rookies. Got fired, but didn't have a quarterback. The plan was to build a program, and when you don't have a quarterback, it's hard to build a program. 6 rookies and 7 first-year guys or something like that. And I would chuckle every once in a while, and said, hey, if I was in college football, I could win a lot of games with these guys. But I wasn't in college football. I was in pro football. And a lot of coaches come up to me and say, Coach, I said, Coach, you're about a gallon effort. I said, I know, I get it. They're going to learn. And they end up being good players. You always do what's best for the game of football, okay? I've always known that. I've always felt it that way. And I'm not afraid to start a rookie. And I learned that from one man and from one man only. And he called me after the game, Dick Vermeil. He started a free agent rookie at the right corner my first year, and I didn't want to let that guy down. I was a rookie, undrafted free agent. And every time I lined up, I thought about that man. I said, this guy gave me a chance, and I ain't going to let him down. That's how I played my whole career. It's real simple. So the best players play. And I think these guys are realizing it doesn't matter if you're a 5-star guy. It doesn't matter if you're a 1-star guy. It doesn't matter if you're a senior, a freshman. Buy into the team and compete every day. You'll get an opportunity to play here. You will. That's me, because that's who I was. And so I get that part. And I don't get caught up in all the rest of that stuff. I listen to my eyes every day I come to work and go, these are the guys. We film everything. Sunday is one of the most gratifying days for me, Sunday, because when we go out there and stretch, I go over across the street in the bubble with 35 to 40 guys that didn't dress, some of them are walk-on kids, some of them are developmental kids, and we practice football in there. And I'm the only coach over there. The GAs come over there, all the other coaches are in the office. I'm over there with those kids, and I'm watching them because it's important. And I said, this is your opportunity to run our offense and our defense. This is a developmental program for you to get better as a football player. And we film it. So every Sunday, I'm over in that bubble watching those kids. I'm not up with the film with the rest of the coaches. I'm over there with those guys, and we're practicing. We're practicing our plays on offense and defense, because these young kids in college football, what happens to them, they run cards all week. They never get to run the offense or the defense. Well, how are you going to develop them? Well, we're going to take them across the street, and we're going to spend time with them. And I'm over there every Sunday with those guys for about an hour. So that's fun for me.
Anyone else right there?
Yes, sir.
Luke Lipinski, Arizona Sports. What do you learn about your guys in the fourth quarter of a game like that? Because these guys are still relatively new to you, aren't they?
You find out, well, you know who the players are, and you better get them the ball. That's for sure. You find out what type of competitor they are. You do in stressful moments, and it doesn't surprise me the guys that show up in the fourth quarter were some veteran guys as well as a young guy in Merlin, but Manny was 101 yards, threw a touchdown pass. number one, had a big pass interference call in the fourth quarter, and he catches a touchdown. Williams is a 38-yard big pass play. Touched the ball 5 times. Two critical first downs he makes. So those guys show up. Merlin Robertson, the guy they were just talking about, 5 tackles, 1.5 sacks in the fourth quarter. Freshman. I mean, I tell guys in big moments, you want to be a big-time player, go make a play. It's real simple. Game's on the line. Who's going to step up and make the play? Who's going to run to the spotlight and who's going to run to the shade? Everybody says they want to do it. I always tell them, here it is. Lights are on, man. Go make a play. Don't stand over here in the shade now. And they show up, and those guys showed up. So good for them.
Hey, Coach. Mark McClune, CBS 5, 3 TV. Once again, would you mind? You mentioned kind of the conversation with Dick Vermeil. Would you mind sharing what your coach?
No, well, that's like my second father. He's just he means a lot to me. That guy. My father died my rookie year. He was kind of my second dad. That guy, and I talk to him once a month. He'll call me or he'll text me, and he's proud of me. And great man. Great man. I'll leave it at that.
Anyone else? One more back there, Coach.
Yes, sir. Yeah. I don't know. It's iffy, and made a great play in the end zone. I showed a couple plays prior to that. That was a big moment in the game. A couple things happened there. We end up getting an interception, and the worst-case scenario on that one, we were hoping they kick a field goal. They score there now. We're down 2 scores, and there's a couple players that made some big plays in that moment. 43 makes a great play to save the touchdown. He's actually blitzing through the A-gap, and the runner gets outside. We miss a tackle. He continues to run and chase it and knocks him out of bounds, like on the 2 or something like that. And then the next series of plays, we get the big interception. And I showed it yesterday. I showed the team. I said, this is the things that you don't see sometimes. Guys that's where I keep saying they playing hard. And if Jalen doesn't play and run that thing down, that guy probably scores. And now it's 10-3. It's a different football game. To his credit, he does it. And then we make the play, the interception. And so I'm showing the interception, and as Taz catches it, and he catches like on, 5 yards in the end zone. And there's 5 defensive players around, so I have it on the screen, and I have these arrows of our defensive players, and I said, anytime he does this again, will you please tackle him? Just tackle the guy. Don't let him come out of the end zone. And then I'm mad at him because he come out of the end zone. That's when he hurt his elbow. I said, you're not a runner. Just stay in the end zone. It's just the game, and I'm great play, messing with him, but it's a way you can make a point. You're always constantly trying to teach them the mental part of football. You got to be ahead of the game in your brain because your emotions get a hold of you and you'll go on your emotions. But mentally, you got to know if we pick one off here, go to the end zone, we're good. We'll get it on the 25-yard line. Everything's great. But there's the emotion of it sometimes.
Last one, Tony.
Given how long you've been in the NFL and you're coaching college now, strategically, how much different is the college game compared to the pro game?
It's different in the sense this way. Most college coaches want to score. They always think points are the thing, and that's how offenses are run. It's possessions for most of these teams. How many possessions do you have? How many times can you score? And that's where it gets away from them, I think. Probably a lot of coaches in that moment would have wanted to score a touchdown. I was opposite. Said we don't have to score a touchdown to win this game. Because I was nervous about the fact that, look, we give them too much time. I've seen this too many times in college football. They go right back down the field. And college football is different because the clock stops every time you make a first down. That's a problem. You got to understand that part of it because in pro football, that's not the case. I mean, you run out of timeouts, and if you don't run out of bounds, you're good. You're solid. But in pro football, as college football, every time you make that first down, that thing, they got to set the change, that thing stops. And the way offenses play now, they're up on the line of scrimmage so fast, it's about a second or two, and they're going again. And so that's what makes me nervous about college game of always trying to score.
Have you noticed that maybe the difference between like college and NFL is if you win an NFL game, that's great. But in college, you have to not only win, but win by a certain margin so you can rise up in the rankings or look better than the next guy. we're trying to get like a good bowl game or a better playoff spot?
You're talking to the wrong guy. You ain't got to worry about that with me. I don't care if we win 1-0 for the next, how many games we got left? I don't know. I don't know. I'm lost. I just go, I'm like a minor, man. I just, that game was over, and I got home at 12:30, and I couldn't sleep, and got back over here at 3:30 and watched it, and so I could put it to bed so I wouldn't bother the coaches. And I took my notes on the summary of what I saw and went into their rooms when they got in, or whatever they got here. They got here later than me, that's for sure. They're not crazy as me. And kind of gave my summation, offense, defense, and special teams, and I got on with San Diego State. I done moved on. That's the most important game we got to play this week is that one. So that's all I care about.